I just had the best relationships with so many people, and they helped me get through the whole process, you know?
And you felt comfortable, whereas like season 12, there was people like Christian that were just constantly disobeying the rules and going out. And before you knew it, like Gordon Ramsay was giving him the axe. And it's like, why was Christian getting such like holy treatment backstage when he was just an asshole to everybody? Kate!
What up, Foxy? This is
What's
so
going
fun.
on?
Dude, not a whole lot of. It's beautiful in Chicago, though. Gorgeous.
You are in Chicago.
City
Okay.
inside.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Kate. I'm from Chicago. I'm 33, and I was on season 7, 8, and 12 of Masterchef.
Season 7. Hold on. Backtrack.
Stop. You knew this.
Tell the world what happened.
In summary, yeah.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, so I auditioned for season 7. Gosh, I want to say it was 2016, maybe even 2015.
It was 2016.
2016? Okay, so audition for season 7. Do you want to know like the whole audition process?
You can tell us whatever you want to tell us.
Okay, well,
what happened? What was your dish that you brought?
Okay, the dish was a lamb sausage jambalaya, merguez jambalaya with a honey jalapeno cornbread.
Did you make the sausage?
No, actually, I didn't make the merguez, but I sourced it from like a really like my favorite place.
Fair enough. We're home cooks at that time.
Yes, and didn't have a sausage. No, I had no equipment like that at the time. I had a KitchenAid, but bring this lamb sausage jambalaya. I guess prior to this, like I had some signs. I was watching your season on with season 6 with Claudia, and me and my mom were big.
Why you got to say it like that?
Well,
season 6 with me.
Well, I was saying like it was you and Claudia. Like, you know, it was like I feel like you two are like two of the most represented, obviously, from that season. But it was just like I feel like you two were like it was very intense with you two. You guys had a lot of drama and everything. So it was just a lot. And anyways, me and my mom were into it. I was like not trying to like, you know, blow smoke up your skirt or whatever. But I liked you. My mom liked Claudia. I liked Claudia too, but I loved like your technique and passion. I didn't like your attitude very much, TBH, but
which is so weird because okay, let's jump forward. On season 12, was my attitude what you thought it was when you saw me on TV?
No, not at all. And that was like even the thing with Jeff though. It was like right when filming ended, Jeff was a different person, you know. But for me as a person, that was very hard to, I guess, believe and like feel like I want, you know what I mean? It was like frustrating for me. I was like, don't be these like two different people, like be yourself, you know?
And I was only myself. Yeah. Like, it's just how I feel like I was cut together.
Sure. And I feel like everybody's got to play their role, you know? And I think too, going into season 7, I was so naive just to like everything reality LA. I had no freaking clue. So yeah, I don't know. Do you want me to describe my dish or like?
Well, yeah, I mean, no, you did. So you auditioned with that dish season 7, and what did they say?
It went great. It went over really well. So the executive chef of Nobu was like the judge in our little like U-shaped room of like people, you know, like all the contestants.
Yeah.
Room. We all have numbers on us. And I remember the girl next to me, she made a vichyssoise and had like these little crispy leeks and, you know, maybe a chive oil or something. It was gorgeous. You know what I mean? And here I am with my dad's like Stanley thermos from like 1960s that's got like Carpenter's like Union stickers all over it. And I'm pouring this like glop, glop, glop sausage, jambalaya, shrimp coming out onto this like, it was a really ugly platter, come to think of it, dish. It was kind of like oval and it was like dark, so it didn't contrast the dish well at all.
Yeah.
And then I had these honey jalapeno cornbreads, but I was smart. So I warmed up the sauce, the jambalaya, and then I had a cast iron skillet that I heated to like 500, let it cool down a little bit, put my um, honey jalapeno cornbread muffins in there to keep them like nice and warm. And then I had some like honey butter that I made too. So I like throw it on this plate, arrange my like jalapeno cornbreads around it, and like throw some parsley on top. And I was like, boom. And the girl next to me's got this gorgeous thing. And I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm getting out of this room. Like, I'm toast, you know? And this guy comes up to me, tastes the jambalaya, and he's like, oh, like, it's different, you know? And he's like, I really like it, like, with the lamb sausage. And I was like, amazing, you know? He hadn't got to the Vichy Soir girl yet. And, uh, and then he tries the cornbread. He's like, holy smokes. He like eats it. And then he takes another one. He's like, do you mind if I bring some to the middle? Like all the people in the middle. And I was like, they're yours. Like, take them all, you know? So I was like, okay, that went really well, you know?
Yeah.
He tries that girl. He asks her like one question about her soup and moves on. And I was like, dude, what the hell? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then I'm still kind of thinking like that was just like a fluke or whatever. And I'm not going to make it out of here. Sure enough, they call my number and it's like next room, next room.
Yep.
And then I got, and yeah, the whole like flashcards thing, that was so
Yeah.
fun for me. And then, yeah, the next day we had an interview and that went really well. It was like super funny because once I mentioned, they were like, oh, what do you like to do for fun, you know? And I told them like I was a bartender and I'm really into like nutrition and fitness and stuff. But I was like, in my free time, like I love the outdoors. I like go paddle boarding with my dog. I hunt, you know, and fish. And they're like they both looked at each other, like the little producers in the room with
Yeah.
me. And they're like, oh, you hunt? It was like they were like,
Yeah.
oh, she can be
Yeah.
this, you know? It was like,
Yeah. Lead with that.
I was like, what is going on, you know? But I was like, okay, it seems like they like me, you know, whatever. And then sure enough, it just kept going. And I was like, this is crazy. This was just like an idea. I was like, I could do this, you know? And then I'm like, I'm doing it. And I don't even know what I'm doing, you know, but it's just this crazy audition process. Get to LA and there's 80 people. Some people have done this before.
Oh wait, so season 7, you made it all the way to LA.
Yeah. Oh, I made it. I made it onto the show, baby.
Oh, you did?
But I didn't win my apron.
Got it. Okay, sorry. I have to apologize because, as you know,
Didn't do your homework. Cool.
no. Once you've been on a Gordon Ramsay show, it's really hard to continue watching because you have like PTSD. And
A little bit.
and I had it really bad, making
Really?
it like having the confetti fall on my fucking head, and it wasn't for me. Like I was traumatized, and like I didn't watch. I really didn't watch anything Gordon Ramsay until I got asked to do All Stars. So from
After.
season 6 to season 12,
Really?
I couldn't watch it. I would just start crying. I mean,
So
truly.
I think that's where like, excuse me, but our experiences were like different because I think having the season 7, like, you know, I guess I don't know if it's like heartbroken or whatever, disappointment, right? Like I had faced it, but I had also learned so much about the reality side of TV and like what they needed in each contestant and everything. So I didn't realize like how much show there was, you know, from each contestant to the producing to the editing. There was so
Yeah.
much. And I was just this like little naive Midwest girl that was like, hey, I can cook. I have a big personality. Like, let me do what I love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get there and I'm up against Lisa Ann in season 7.
Yeah.
And we had like a seafood challenge. So I did scallops. She did like the 7 fishes. And
Yeah.
right when we start cooking, it was like, and this is no shade to her. This is her doing her homework and me not, you know. But it's like her New Jersey accent is like tenfold. Everything is just emphasized, you know. It's
She
like
just played it up.
yes, and I'm over there like, what is going? Like I'm just trying to be me, you know, in my little zone over here, like doing what I do. And I was joking with Gordon and like having a good time, but it wasn't like, oh, you're on camera, girl. Like, do your
Yeah.
thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so I cook a really good dish, right? And then they spend like 2 hours deliberating. Like everybody else had like 30 minutes, after they like throw us back outside and we're waiting with our families. It
Mm-hmm.
was so long. And like the way they were, they each give their criticisms to like each dish. It was like you really could not, it was like, we like this, but we don't like this. But it was like, just
Yeah.
nitpicking. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, God, what's gonna happen? Whatever. It seems like there's just something going on. And then comes out, Lisa Ann wins the apron, and it was like at that point, like I blacked out. Like
Yeah.
it was like I could see everything happening, but like no joke, it was kind of weird too because it was like because I have shot guns before, and if you don't have hearing protection in your ears, it's almost like it drowns out the noise for a second, and it's like ringing. So this was like that, but it was silent. So all these people are going crazy. My mom and brother, family around me, and it's just like he says her name, and it's just like I couldn't hear anything. So he was talking to me, and I didn't hear it right. So I could only like hear what my brother and my mom would tell me what he said. So come season 8, I'm kind of like, wow, that was all going so well until it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I guess affected by that aspect where I was like, man, I guess it felt so good, and then it was like it wasn't meant to be. So I was like, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe it's not for me. So I was kind of, I guess, like booty hurt a little bit in that aspect. But my family on the other side was like, no, you need to do this. He was said like you were made for this show. Like, uh, you just need like, a few little things, whatever, like come back again and like all these things, right? I didn't
Yeah.
hear it. So then I told the producers, no, I don't want to audition. And then Ned, I think it was,
Ned, that's my guy.
he's my guy too. He calls
Amazing.
Yeah, he calls me and he basically gives me the same spew my family had been giving me. Like
Good.
he said all these things like you were made for this and that. And like it took him really telling me and not my family because I was like, it's not that I didn't believe them, but it's like your family's gonna tell you your food's good, your family's gonna tell you
Yeah.
you're the best, yada yada yada.
Yeah, you needed to hear it from a different source.
Yeah, so he is amazing. And I was like, all right, it was literally like the last day of like, you can say yes to this. So I was like, I'm doing it.
So did you have to do the full audition process again for
No,
season
thank
8?
God. Apparently,
Oh, they let you skip the line.
but it was still a nightmare during season 7, like the whole, you know,
Yeah.
background check and drug test and psych
Yeah,
exam.
you got to do all that stuff.
But they
Um,
told me it was because a year hadn't passed between the 2 seasons. I didn't have to do the full audition again. So I was like, perfect. Yeah.
amazing. Well,
I
that's
think if
good
I
to know
did,
for those out there that are trying again.
yes, yes, that is really true.
Um,
Yeah.
so before you decided to audition in season 7, what were you doing? Like, what was your life?
My life. So I had graduated college and then I got certified as a holistic nutritionist and a Russian kettlebell instructor. So I was that by day. And then I was a bartender at this really cool bowling alley in Chicago. It never really sounds good, but I promise you, it was crazy. Some of the funnest days of my life.
Yo, bowling alleys are amazing. I love
Dude,
bowling and I love drinking and bowling, and that's an awesome combination. And also, no one's in a, I mean, I don't know. I guess league players might be in a bad mood bowling, but anyone that's at a bowling alley that's not in a league is having a blast.
a blast. And it was like almost like the same kind of people would come into this place. Like we got a whole different array on the weekends, but like Monday through Friday, our league nights, it was like everybody was different, all different walks of life, but it was almost like they had the same personality. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was like and yeah, sure, some people got mad, but we would always cheer them up. It was so, so fun. It was called the Rock and Bowl, but we made bank too. Like I say,
Yeah.
I made stripper money there, and it was
Wow.
like on Fridays and Saturdays, we'd turn into like the disco or whatever is it called, like whatever.
Yeah.
But
The,
it'd be these huge freaking parties. Like we'd have the Big Lebowski Fest, like walking
ah,
out of there with thousands of dollars a night. It was
wow.
insane. So
Okay,
much.
so how would you say like MasterChef changed your life after going as far as you did on season 8?
That's a good question. I would say
Because you're not still at Rock and Bowl, are you?
no, no, but I honestly miss it. I do.
You do miss it.
Um, yeah, because it was just like it just seemed something like so free, just so much freedom and just fun. Um, but MasterChef really gave me the confidence because, like I said before, like I love to cook. I had this passion the whole time, but I never I never stepped out of like people I knew, right? So it's like it's easy to take somebody's words and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm great," and try to believe it. But when you have like somebody that gives you some accreditation to your food, it really gives you like that boost of confidence. Like,
To like step outside your comfort zone.
oh, for sure. And I think I've always wanted to be in food. I knew I couldn't afford culinary school, and I never wanted to be like a chef in a restaurant. Like I knew that wasn't my end goal ever. Um, so I was like, I know I need to take a different approach to my dreams and my goals. So I knew something like this was gonna propel me to get to where I wanted to go. And for me, I think what I was saying earlier about being different was I think you had wanted to win so bad. Like that was your end goal. And for me, after season 7, like I knew after getting like the taste of reality, seeing all the contracts, I was like, I don't want to win this thing. I thought like before, like when I was watching you and Claudia, I was like, I want to win this. You know what I mean? And when I got to season 8, I was like, I want nothing to do with this title. I want to make myself look as good as I can, get a good reputation, and then see what I can do with this. You know what I mean? And so when it came down to like, I guess like when I got my call for season 8 to like actually officially go back, I was in Ireland with my stepmom and dad. And I was literally like going to a cafe to get Wi-Fi so I can sign like a DocuSign document to send back to MasterChef. And then we went and we were in Galway and we went out for like seafood afterwards. And I was like, if I make it to top 10, I'll be elated. I was like, and if I make it to top 5, like that's done. Like I'm done. Like happy as a clam. I'm out. And when I made it
You
top,
manifested that. You
yeah.
should have just manifested that you were going to win.
But that's the thing. I didn't want to win. And it was like,
Oh, come on. $250,000 slapped in your hand the next day.
what? It's 100,000 after all the BS. What?
It's minus 40%.
Okay.
You lose 40% in taxes.
So a little bit more than that, but nothing I can't still obtain or haven't obtained. You know what I mean? Like
Of course.
it for me that wasn't really like sure, yeah. Who doesn't want that? But I would also say like what comes with that $140,000-$150,000. You know what I mean? A 5-year contract. You have to do this and this and this. You get X amount of this when you do this. So it's just like for me, I think too, being a very, I guess, wild, you know, unhinged kind of girl. I don't like
Forager, if you will.
yeah, I'm not so much about the control aspect. That's probably why I've been, working for myself and doing my whole thing.
Well, let's get into some holistic stuff. Well, I also wanted to touch on All Stars because I had never, you and I before All Stars had never talked, never exchanged. And it was really funny because I I don't know the order that they contacted people, right? But I know I had to have been one of the first, just because one being a runner up and how heartbreaking it was, because the messages still haven't stopped. But I got contacted and I said I don't know, and I went quiet. I went like radio silent. I was not responding to anybody. And then about 2 weeks later, right around when you slid into my DMs, about 20 other MasterChef prior contestants were all up in my DMs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was getting phone calls, and DeAndre called me and he's like, I don't, he goes, I don't need your answer. I already know they called you. I want to know, are you going? And
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, don't bullshit me. He goes, I
I'm
know they
pretty
called
sure
you.
this is our exact conversation, like verbatim from like when I messaged
Yeah,
you. It was
yeah.
what exactly DeAndre said.
Everyone wanted to know if I was going because there
Well,
was
I was just excited. Like I was excited, honestly. Like who are they contacting? Like it's like you know who you know from your season and
right.
your people, but you're not like um yeah who because there's so many people. But it's like I feel like we have that big family where people are
Yeah.
connected through social media, but where it's not like we're BFFs and talk to each other. You know what I mean? So
But then also like reality kicks into your head and they're like, are they making this a redemption story? Like, is it going to be a Luca situation? Is it going to like
everything.
if I would have even considered that there were juniors that were old enough to come compete, I wouldn't have shown up. I would have been like, and no slight to Dara, she absolutely deserves it, and she knows like I absolutely love and support her.
100.
But like I, it, I'm like that's a better storyline than me winning.
100%. Um, I thought Gabe, I was like, when, like, again,
Oh yeah, let's talk about Gabe. Go ahead.
season 12. So he was on my season 8 season with me. Um, and like, as this is all going out, playing out, I guess, like, I had been contacted before I had reached out to you because I feel like things had been happening. I don't even know how long it had been, but it had been going for a while. And I wasn't taking it that serious either. I was actually kind of auditioning for another show at the same time. Um,
Ooh, spill the tea.
it was called Chefs vs. Wild.
Oh, that'd have been great for you.
So listen, I told the girl like it was I was in, right? They were like we are gonna fly out in October or something. I think we were flying out or like September, right? Something like this. It was so coinciding, and I told the lady I was like, listen, this is like the devil's master chef over here. You guys are the angel. Like this is what I should choose. I was like, but I'm gonna choose the devil for two reasons. One, because it's probably my tendency, and two, I felt like I needed to do it for like the fans, which sounds so lame, but I felt like I had so many like this could make me cry. But just so many people that reached out and was just so nice to me and just like said I inspired their kids or something. And I was like, oh, like I would feel so bad if I left that whatever closed or you know what I mean,
Yeah.
unturned or whatever. So yeah, I don't want to get emotional, but I was like, I have to do it for that. And I told the lady, I'm like, I'm sorry. And it was their first season for the Chef's First Wild thing. So I was like, I feel like if that goes well, I'll be on next time or whatever.
Right.
I'm glad I
You
actually
made the right call because
yeah.
season ones of shows like don't always make it, you know?
Exactly. That's what she said. She's like, "Well, it could be the best thing ever and you could be that person that does like season 1 of Real World Road Rules or whatever." But
Sure. Like
no,
I
it
have
did
a
not
friend
do
that
well.
just I have a friend that just filmed an entire TV show over in South Africa. They flew all the way to South Africa. He was an executive producer. He wasn't even like on camera. They spent like 6 months making the show and they scrapped it. It's not even going to see the light of day.
Yeah, like oh, can't imagine. Can't imagine. So yeah, so I'm glad and then no, yeah, no regrets ever. I always feel like what's meant to be is to be, and even what happened with like my outcome on season 12, it was like when I left, I was like I needed to get out of there. Like literally, I was like, this is what's meant to be because season 12 was like, oh, if you could take the complete opposite,
It was
uh,
a crapshoot. But
crap.
the behind the scenes on that one, it was like the production people. I mean, there were a couple of people that were OGs that have
Yes,
been there that were great, but there were so many new people that it felt like they had never run a TV show before.
it was insane.
Yeah,
Even from the culinary team, like so, Mary was there, amazing. Um, but it was. I felt like season 8. I felt so like when I left, I was so sad because I felt like so connected to everybody there. Like 3 months of your life with these people who were like your wranglers, who I literally looked like at as like my older or younger siblings, because some were
Right.
young, and they would take care of you. We had drivers who were amazing. I saw every day. I was like, love you. Like, I just had the best relationships with so many people, and they helped me get through the whole process,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
felt like as little freedom as you had so much freedom from reality, which is
Right.
messed up, right?
And you felt comfortable, as whereas like
Safe.
season 12, I mean, there was people like Christian that were just constantly disobeying the rules and going out, like ignoring what production was asking of us, and it's like all those things make the whole experience either better or worse. And like that's what really annoyed me kind of about season 12 too, is because there were people on season 6 that did not want to play by the rules and wanted to ignore what production was asking. And before you knew it, like Gordon Ramsay was giving them the axe.
Yeah.
And it's like, why was Christian getting such like holy treatment backstage when he was just an asshole to everybody?
I wish I could answer that question.
Okay. Speaking of people behind the scenes, though, I want to ask you about Gabe. Gabe was on your
Okay,
season.
yeah.
I had a lot of issues with Gabe, not personally. I got along great with him, and I mean we shared a wall in our hotel.
Yeah.
the The thing that really bugged me is like he was all so confident. He got culinary school from Gordon Ramsay, and then every team challenge he was sitting down like I can't handle the pressure.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask Gabe the same thing. Don't think I'm just calling him out, like not going to talk to him about. I'm going to talk to him about this. Like, what was going on? Like, and did you experience that in season 8 with the pressure? Like, was he a leader? Was he someone that like you would go into battle again with, or was it really like
You know what? To be honest, I think Gabe was only on my team challenge one. No, he was on my team twice for season
okay?
8, and both times we won.
You won a lot of team
I
challenges.
won every team challenge except for when Jeff was on my team. And that was also, it's like, well, what would make the best TV? You know what I mean? What would be the
Sure.
most shock value right here? Um, but no, I would say Gabe didn't have the culinary school training, but he was always like a workhorse in our season. Like, if I was
Okay.
captain, I would pick him. Maybe not first because there were like Jason was always like my go-to. Um,
Yeah.
but I would say there's maybe something just with like the stress and the pressure and something like there that I think when, it just, because like,
I think
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, I am terrible with interrupting, but the thought in my head is that like when we come back the second time, and this ties into what you were saying before, is like you're so naive the first time,
Right,
and then the second time there's so much in your head
right.
that that it messes with you.
Yes. And I think I had actually talked to him about season 12, and I almost feel like I'm kind of stepping over boundaries talking about this. So
No, he's on the schedule. We're gonna talk about
okay,
it, and I
but
can air it in
Gabe
different
is my
order.
little brother. I love him to death, and I'm so proud of everything he's accomplished. Um,
He's crushing it.
but yeah, I do feel a little bit. But was like, Gabe, like, what's going on? Is there anything I can do for you? And he was just like, if you see like his social media, he grinds. You know what I mean? And I think coming into season 12, he was just grinding so hard and like trying to close up all the loose ends to get to MasterChef, which I think is probably the most stressful part of getting there. Is just like
Sure.
making sure all your ducks are in a row, and they're going to be in a row for at least 3 months or up to 3 months while you're gone. So it was just, I think he was just like burning out and then got there. And then it was another kind of stress. Like the other
Yeah.
day, somebody asked me, it's so stressful. Like it looks so stressful to do Master Chef, you know? And I was like, you know, it is, but in the heat of the moment, it's almost like you kind of just go. It's just like what we do right at that point. And then the first season, like season 8 for me, I felt so like safe and also like lack of freedom, but so much freedom for like myself, right? Like I could express myself. I could cook. We had like not necessarily field trips, but like we got to go to the grocery store. We got to do all these things. They'd plan outings when we had days off and stuff like that. This time it was like I felt stressed like the entire time of out like the only time I felt free was when I was cooking. You know what I mean? And even then this time being so unorganized on their end, that was hard. Like I opened
Yeah.
cream that was bad twice. You know, like I shouldn't be
Wow.
opening bad cream, but it's like they don't date the creams there. And then I don't think where they late, you know, and those are like things where it's like Avery season 8 and like Yaz, they were running stuff like it was like you just felt good. You were like, I am in
Yeah.
all these people are in control and I am just doing what I do best. And they're making me to the best of my ability right now.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Avery. I mean, she's a culinary gangster.
All of
There's a
them.
reason
All
that
of them.
show was running so well when she was there.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, also coming back a second time, you know who your competition is. You can go watch them. You can go see what they've done. You can check out their Instagram. When your first season, like, you're going in naive because you don't know anybody.
No.
You're not looking at anyone as competition. You're like, I know I'm the best. I'm going to go in and crush it.
Yes.
And then, the All-Star season, you're like, shit, everyone's good. Everyone's done this before. Everyone is here for redemption. Like,
Exactly.
it's super high stakes. And then, yes, we get thrown COVID in the
Oh my
mix,
God, that
which
was
is
awful.
obnoxious. And then they got rules that they can't keep straight. One day we're allowed to do this. The next day we're not allowed to do this. Like, the hotel gym, like, we could go
Oh,
to, and then we couldn't.
you are
And
just
then, oh
you're
my God.
bringing up so many good points. But
So it was tough. A lot of stuff happens that people don't like know, but also to Gabe's story too. Like, I mean, we all were tying up loose ends. Like, I was stressed the fuck out because I have the greatest private chef job you could ever want and imagine,
right.
and I had to find a chef, and the chef knew my situation, and so he was price gouging me, and I literally had to pay him $15,000 out of my pocket to go
Wow.
do MasterChef.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, all I'm thinking is, I bet I got to make this worth it.
Right.
Well, Cate, so what do you got going on now? Like, what are the goals? What are you doing with all of this?
Well, I'm low key writing a cookbook for a wild game.
Woo!
Yeah, and then I have my clients that I cook for. So I do love like your aspect and job of working for like one person. I've always been like scared to do the same thing over and over again because I get like complacent. Like I'm like, oh, this is too, I like change. Like,
Well, I mean, that's the thing about my job, though, is I get to go to the same place every day, and I know that the money is going to be there, but I get to make different stuff every day.
and I think that like maybe that totally would suit me. But I think when I just developed my business model, like this is what I do. I cook for one client a day and I cook their weekly meals. And so I have,
Oh, I love that.
yeah. So I do 4 clients a week. I used to do 5, and this year I took a day off. Well, actually,
That's great.
technically got fired in a very, I know. It's like,
It happens.
it does. But it was really more so for like their personal reasons. There was like I don't even want to get into it because it's a lot, but it was more so for like the kids' sake, and they were my best, amazing, most clients, and they love me, and we still have a great relationship, and I do some things for them, but it just needed to happen for the kids' sake. It had nothing to do with me and the kids, but they needed to go away for a while.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's play a little game real quick.
Oh snap!
A little rapid.
Wait, but it's
a little
not.
rapid fire.
I can't eat anything.
No, yeah, no. I'm not at the point where I can send
Can you send
boxes of.
cooks? And can you send me a cookie though?
I can send you a cookie once I have the cookie on pause right now. I'm going through some personal stuff that has not been made public yet.
Okay, well, maybe we can talk about it after we stop recording.
Sure.
Okay.
But before you also have like an affinity for mushrooms too.
Love anything.
Have you dabbled in psychedelics?
Who's asking? Yeah, of course, dude. I'm 33.
Do you love it?
I've had some good trips, man.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Cool,
What's
cool.
up?
All right.
That's like I
Well,
feel like
I
a lot
won't.
of people, I guess, actually ask that. Like, "Oh, you like mushrooms? You like psychedelics?"
No, but like I just feel like, man, why is that illegal? It just doesn't make
Well, I
sense.
would say just think about, like, the lack of control. Like, there are no boundaries, so, like, nobody's watching you. Like, I think, like, you could essentially, like, get in a car and think, like, the bus coming to you is a bus when it's stuff like that, it's like, it's not safe. You can't make that legal. You can maybe make it legal in a controlled area. I think that's what they're, like, doing with.
I mean, alcohol, you can get in a car and that bus doesn't look like a bus.
I mean, it might make it look like a blurry bus, but yeah. It's no, I mean, alcohol is not good either, but yeah. I'm not
But we
promoting
love it.
psychedelics, okay, but I do find.
Okay. Have you ever tried DMT?
No. No, that just sounds scary, man.
Okay, so let's play a little rapid fire question. Um, if you could go up against any Masterchef winner from any season, who would you go up against and why?
Luca. I don't know, he's just one of somebody that I think is the top. I can't. I mean, don't take he's just what comes to mind, so judge me.
All good. It's
But
rapid fire.
I like competing against the best. Like, if I'm gonna lose,
Well,
I wanna lose.
you'll smash him. He's
Oh, stop.
he's a
Stop it.
punk.
I think he's great.
He was my inspiration for a long time
Oh,
until
really?
yeah, until we had some exchanges on Facebook.
Derrick.
Um, maybe I'll get to talk to him about it one day.
Maybe. Maybe.
Okay, you uncover the mystery box, and the ingredient is chocolate and steak. What are you making?
Ooh, I would make a cocoa crusted steak with maybe a chocolate bordelaise sauce and then something super, super, like, maybe even just like potato to be a balancing factor, but have some like um, acidic gremolata and something definitely acid to bring forward some contrast and color. Need some other veg. Maybe.
Well, maybe we'll work on that dish.
Fuck you. What
Uh,
would you do? Tell me one thing that sounds way better.
with chocolate and steak?
Chocolate and steak, yeah.
I'm the one asking questions.
Okay. Well, hey,
I'm
settled then.
teasing, Kate.
Settled.
I'm teasing, Kate.
But
I'm
yeah,
teasing.
I would do something like that, and I think it sounds good. So,
I would do a chocolate and mascarpone fondue, and then probably I would do like I would do like steak bites and maybe wrap them in puff pastry, so it's like almost like dipping a croissant in chocolate, but it's like savory. I just thought of that.
yeah, I can tell. I just, no, but yeah, I think those things are. I think too. It really helps when you get to see what's available for, like, in the MasterChef, like, little shopping arena area. It was just helpful to see, like, what actually looks good right now, and, like, yeah, just colors and flavors, what bringing different components to the dish.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I think okay. Last question. Uh, if you could pick any over the history of MasterChef, the three judges that you like the most, who would they be?
Graham, Arone, and Gordon. Duh.
Done.
Done.
No woman power up there.
Honestly, Christina, like, I love her, admire her, respect her. She, like, I don't know if it's like, how each judge has to, like, come off, but it was like she would praise me, but in the like non-praising way. It was just very like, when I was good, when she liked it, she would give me praise, but for the most part, she would be like, like snooty about it, you know? And I was just like, I couldn't feel any love from her as I could feel from like Aron and Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, no slight to Christina. I think she's growing a giant empire
Yeah.
with
No, she's
Milk
incredible.
Bar. I think on the show, like obviously it was like her first big TV
Yeah.
show too, and she came out first on our season, so our season was very dessert heavy.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think that it just you could feel the contrast between her and Gordon. Is like Gordon's so seasoned and so genuine in everything he does, and there was just like this. I don't want to say disingenuous side to her, but it came off a little TV.
Yeah. And I think it honestly it's so hard I think for her to be like what is she basically has to mold herself into another mold because you're following Gordon Ramsay's lead here. You're fitting into his chocolate mold
Yeah,
there, you know. But she had to wear like so many hats. Like even in her style, I felt like it was kind of like all over the place, but also like developing throughout the seasons. You know, it was like
yeah,
towards the end, you couldn't really even see like it was like, okay, there's maybe Christina. You know, I don't know.
right,
That's just
right.
something I noticed, but I do think it was very hard for her. She did an amazing job too, but I think it was hard too because she is an expert in pastry, and that's what everybody knows. And I think
But she can also cook.
right, and she knows a lot about it, obviously too. But I think her trying to, you know, explain and touch on those things were hard to come across for viewers too, maybe, or she was trying to
Yeah,
be more serious when she did it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know. But I love her.
No slight. I get it. I felt the same way. I felt it. Um, Kate, so you got this. You're working on a cookbook. Do you have a timeline for it?
No, so what I'm doing is like every Monday I try to create one recipe that I could fit into my cookbook. And then I want to like just at least get like, you know, maybe how I'm not even exactly too sure how I want to design it, like what categories and stuff, because I think that's very important, especially too for people that hunt and cook wild game. You know, it's like you have a lot of something, and also sometimes you're feeding a family, and then sometimes it's like party food. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, I just kind of want to like see what I have and kind of then organize what I have, and then pick my best dishes, and then go from
Yeah.
there. I'm not at a
So you're in the early
definitely
stages.
early stages. But it's really exciting for me just because it is kind of I feel like before I was working so much where I wasn't actually focusing on like my next step, you know? So this is my next step.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks,
congratulations.
dude.
Have you talked to Michael at all about it?
No, actually, you know, me and Michael were really cool on season 12, but it was almost like I never heard from him ever again.
Yeah, he moved to LA and he got LA on everyone and has
No
disappeared.
way. I thought he moved to
My
Dallas.
no, well, he was coming up to Dallas for some gigs. He was in Austin. He
Um,
moved to Austin. And then from Austin,
back to LA.
his fiance got a job in LA, so he moved to LA. And I literally see him and talk to him less in LA than when he was in Austin. Earth to Michael, come back.
Yeah.
um, do you have a favorite recipe so far, a favorite dish in your cookbook that you can tease to the
You
public?
know, I try to when I write the recipes, I try to share at least some of the part on social media. And the best one that's gone over was a mushroom. It was like a morel and ram rub venison loin with a palms puree, chimichurri, and some roasted maitake mushrooms that I foraged. It's fire.
That sounds delicious, and that should also be the cover of the book.
Thank you. Thank you.
You and that dish. That
Yes.
sounds amazing.
Yes. No,
Well, Kate, I'll let you get back to writing recipes and doing your food biz.
thanks, dude.
Thank you for spending this hour with me. I appreciate it,
Thanks for having
and
me.
let's do it again. Let's keep the chat open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'll see you again in Dallas, or if you ever come to Chicago.
Dallas or LA, or if I come to Chicago,
Yes. All of the above.
grab a drink.
Dude, love you. It was great chatting with
Love you
you,
too.
and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Later.